A 1-0 victory for Iran to start off the final round of World Cup qualification. On today's show, we'll be recapping Iran's victory over Syria. We got plenty of highlights for you. And of course, we'll be previewing the showdown with Iraq. You know the deal and you know what time it is. It's time for Team Melli Talk. Alireza Jahanbakhsh was all smiles after this victory, just like the rest of his teammates. Once again, a 1-0 victory for Iran over Syria, and as always, when it comes to the starting lineup and head coach Dragan Skocic, there's always that feeling of who's going to be starting. So without further ado, let's take a look at the starting lineup. Some changes on the back line. Vahid Amiri starting as a left back, Jafar Salmani getting the start at right back instead of the injured Sadeh Moharami. As for the defensive midfielders, Ahmad Nourallahi and Milad Sarlak getting the start over Saeed Izzatullahi. As for the attacking midfielders, Saman Ghodus, and the wingers, Alireza Jahanbakhsh and Ali Golizadeh, and up top, Mehdi Taremi. I'll have more to elaborate later about the starting lineup, but first, let's get to the first half highlights. Early on, a free header for Shoja Khalilzadeh, but unable to put it on goal. He obviously wishes he could have that one back. Iran kept up the pressure, but Alireza Jahanbakhsh unable to connect on the cross from Ahmad Nourallahi. But now in the 15th minute, Shoja Khalilzadeh gets beat easily on this challenge, but the shot goes wide from Omar Khribin. Iran dodging a bullet for sure. Later in the first half, a cross from Ghodus, but Jahanbakhsh's shot goes straight to Syrian keeper Ibrahim Alma. Another chance for Iran, but this time it's Ali Golizadeh. He just did not get enough power on this shot. And at the other end, Alireza Bayramvand called into action and makes a huge save off a free kick. Once again, this is the reason why he is Iran's #1 keeper. Finally, in the 56th minute, some good ball movement, a perfect pass from Mehdi Taremi, and Alireza Jahanbakhsh does the rest to give Iran the lead. Finally, the goal they were waiting for. We all know deflections are a goalkeeper's worst enemy, but either way, Iran led 1-0. Syria increasing the pressure against Iran towards the end of the match, but unable to capitalize. Things did get a little scary once again, but Iran's defenders clamping down at the right time. And that's the way it would end. A 1-0 victory for Iran over Syria. Another W for Dragan Skocic. 3 points for Iran. At this moment, top of the group. Now, when looking back at this game, obviously we're happy that Iran got the win. Remember, a win is a win. 3 points are 3 points. But there's one thing I got to point out right away, and that is the starting lineup used by Dragan Skocic. We're always wondering who's going to start. This time we saw Saman Ghodus start, so nobody could be complaining there, including me, but we did not see Saeed Izzatullahi starting. I'm really wondering why Milad Sarlak got the start instead of Izzatullahi. You know, what can I say? Another mystery, another thing to think about. But now, when also talking about the defense, there was times I was not happy with the play from our center backs in Khalilzadeh and Kanani. They got to be smarter. Of course, playing against Syria, remember, Syria is not the best team in this group, but there's got to be changes need to be made. That's the bottom line. And as for Vahid Amiri, I always like what he brings to the pitch for Iran, but he was beat a few times by some faster wingers when he was playing as a left back. So moving on forward, I think Dragan Skocic has got to be very careful on who he uses to play as a left back or at the right back position. Time to analyze Iran's next opponent. A team that is very familiar to Iran, neighboring rival Iraq. Now, Iraq is going to be tough for a couple of reasons. For one, familiarity. Iran already played Iraq 2 times in the previous round of qualifying, so of course, the Iraqi players definitely know what our Team Melli footballers are all about. They're going to come prepared. And let's also not forget that Iraq, even though they did not come away with a victory in their first match of the final round, they actually scored a huge 0-0 draw away from home against South Korea. They're once again showing that they're a force to be reckoned with, and they have a tough backline that could be hard to get through. Now for my final thoughts, I think it only makes sense to talk about the keys to the game when Iran faces Iraq in Doha on September 7th. We got a couple of keys. Let's take a look at them. First, close down space in the defensive third of the field and better play from the center backs. Now, when looking back at the victory over Syria, there were some times where there was some really sloppy play in the defensive third of the field and allowing too much space for the Syrian attackers. That obviously needs to be addressed by Dragan Skocic and his coaching staff. And as for our center backs, I definitely like Shoja Khalilzadeh and Hossein Kanani. They're solid players, but they've got to be better than solid when Iran faces Iraq. We all know that Iraq is a much more dangerous opposition than Syria, and this match will be played away from home. Now, what about you? What do you think Iran has to do to come out victorious against Iraq? Leave a comment down below. Always looking forward to getting your input. And that's it, everybody, for this edition of Team Melli Talk. Really do appreciate the support. Make sure you get to our website, www.teammelitalk.com. Remember, this is your best source for the latest news on Team Melli, the national team of Iran. Make sure you find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know the handle, at Team Melli Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that notification button. See you on the next edition of Team Melli Talk.